Whoa, Colonel. This isn't a strategy game. What do you do?
Stop! You violated the law!
Hold up, y'all. Just because Dragon Age Origins is labeled as an RPG doesn't mean it doesn't have strategic elements. On the contrary, the game even has a tactical view to help you plan every fight. So yes, it is a strategy game, and therefore valid for my very first game review. Hey there everyone, it's me, Colonel Strat, the strategy extraordinaire here, and today I'm going to dive deep into what makes Dragon Age Origins so damn cool. This will be my official first review on this channel, and if you guys like the content, show me your support, like the video, comment, and subscribe to Colonel Strat for more strategic content. And without further ado, let's dive right into the review. Dragon Age Origins' story can most accurately be summed up as a culmination of many fantasy tropes and storytelling. From family betrayal to curses and destiny, the game is littered with references to other fantasy films, books, and just medieval history. While this may look and feel to some that the story is bland because all these things have been done before, in practice the game does a great job at defining its own style on top of it. While many storylines can appear similar to other fantasy media such as Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter or many other fantasy books and movies that have come out, the twists that come into it that BioWare have created in their world really stand out, such as the dwarves having a slowly dying empire being torn apart from the outside by Darkspawn, and an inside Caesar-like betrayal and political intrigue, or the elves becoming cursed by the forest to turn into werewolves, or the humans of Redcliffe dealing with a demonic host. BioWare made sure to craft a unique world with unique enemies and atmosphere that stood the test of time. So the main story revolves around you, and this is a great time to talk about the origin system. So when you pick a new game, you're first transported to the character creator and you're given a decent amount of customization. But the best part of it is the origins themselves. These storylines are unique and involve unique characters you'll see throughout the game, and depending on your origin, you'll have different dialogue options.
Dwarven crafts, fine dwarven. My lord Hydukin? Is that really you? I knew you survived. I never stopped believing it.
These origins are each expertly crafted and detailed that leaves a lot for replayability. I can't tell y'all how many times I've played through each origin just to see what other outcomes there are. Each one eventually leads to the same outcome, however, getting recruited into the illustrious Grey Warden Knight Order. The story then picks up at Ostagar, where you rendezvous with Kaelin, King of Ferelden, to stop the Darkspawn menace massing in the swamps in the south. It's at Ostagar that the game really opens up and teaches you mechanics and helps you get a bearing on the gameplay loop. The story overall is a masterpiece of storytelling combining many elements together, and it always leaves me wanting more from it, but what really sets Dragon Age apart from other RPGs is the gameplay. The Dragon Age gameplay loop may look similar to other RPGs at first. Get into combat, kill enemies, gain XP, and repeat. But below the surface there are many layers. Each character gets a selection of skills, talents, spells, and other things to help them round out their kit. Spells are exclusive for mages, and talents for warriors and rogues. These spells and talents are active abilities that can cause a variety of effects from slow to poison. They cost energy or mana to cast, but can help burst out damage. Skills are passive traits that improve your understanding into certain aspects of the game. For example, Concern. This skill, as you level it up, helps you convince certain characters to do things that they wouldn't normally do. It's a simple persuasive skill that most RPGs have, but it has its place. You can unlock new scenes or change the whole outcome with this skill of the game. So it's very effective for different playthroughs and for really redoing the playthroughs. Most skills offer something similar. There are ones that are minimal, like survival, but I always stack herbalism because you're going to be running out of health potions real quick, especially on higher difficulties. So always pack yourself a nice herbalist in your party. Now Dragon Age takes a tactical approach to combat. Combat in most RPGs nowadays are full of hack and slash minigames or simplify the combat to pull the dialogue forward. A Dragon Age's combat state says fuck you to that. The top-down tactical view, the tactics slots that can control your companion's rotation, the placing and environmental manipulation make the tactical side of Dragon Age very detailed and robust. All these elements of gameplay weave together to create an engaging experience that draws me and many others in and leaves us craving more stories and battles, more ways to play the game, and more ways to experience the epic tale that is Dragon Age Origins. So, now we talk about the characters. Not just creating your own vessel for the story, but the characters you meet along the way. First there's Alistair, your charming, witty fellow Grey Warden that's always got a quick one-liner to say.
Sir Mage, she desires your presence.
What her reverence desires is of no concern to me. I am busy helping the Grey Wardens, by the King's orders, I might add.
Should I have asked her to write a note?
Alistair was always one of my favorites from the moment I met him in Ostagar till all the way till the end, just because he's such a faithful friend, and you learn a lot of interesting things about him along the way, so his character develops very nicely. Then there's Morrigan, the intelligent, conniving apostate mage that never fails to show her cynical nature.
What would you do if your mother died?
Before or after I stopped laughing.
Right, very creepy. Forget I asked.
I'll regret saying that. Dear sweet mother, you are so kind to cast me out like this.
Morrigan is one of them that I had to learn to love, just because she has such a cynical outview on life that even if you pick the right quote-unquote decision, she will still have something bad to say about it. But in the end, she shows that her heart is in it, and she is faithful to you. As long as you pick the right choices, you can see her good side. And then there's Liliana, a devout, bubbly priestess with a dark past.
Let me introduce myself. I am Liliana, one of the lay sisters of the Chantry here in Lothering. Or I was. A vision that by serving you, I serve his holy plan.
Perhaps
Liliana is one of the more flat characters when you first meet her, but as you get to know her better throughout your adventures, she really shows her other side, and you can really see a lot of different things about her, and it makes her very interesting to see as her story progresses. And then there's Wynne, a stoic and faithful servant who watches over her flock of mages with a motherly embrace.
If they invoke the right, however, we will not be able to stand against them. Petra, Kinan, look after the others. Let me help you. I erected a barrier over the door leading to the rest of the tower, so
Wynne is one of them that doesn't change much and always has the same type of demeanor, but she's a very faithful mage, and if you are very good of a character, then you'll most likely keep her on board throughout your entire journey, and will have a very heartfelt motherly comment at the end. Then there's Sten, a calculated, stern soldier who bears great shame for his past.
Peace. I'm in a cage, am I not? I've been placed here by the Chantry.
The revered mother said he slaughtered an entire family, even the children.
It is as she says. I am Sten of the Beresod, the vanguard of the...
Sten is one of the few Qunari characters in Dragon Age Origins. The Qunari were expanded more in the sequels, but Sten in this context reminds me a lot. I draw parallels to Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy, just because both characters seem to have a very stern and calculated and emotionless view on the world itself. But Sten, if you remain faithful to him, he will start to show you some of his emotional side and actually let his guard down by the end of the game. Then there's Zevran, a cunning and sneaky assassin who originally was sent to kill you but was flipped to your side.
That I have no doubt. You are most skilled. If you haven't killed me, however, you must have kept me alive for some purpose, yes? Ah, so I am to be interrogated. Let me save you some time. My name is Zevran. Zev to my friend.
Zevran is seen by many to be the favorite character by many gamers, and I could see why, because he has a very charming personality about him with a checkered past. And if you keep him on board, then you can see some very interesting interactions in other places of the game. And finally, rounding out the cast is Ogren, the stubborn dwarf with a huge heart.
Nose, surrounded by a great glowing nimbus. If she's a woman, she might be more slight, but her eyes will shine with the light of purity, and her large but chaste bosom will heave.
And Ogren is personally my favorite, just because of how dedicated he is to his friends. And in the world of Thedas, it's very cynical and gloomy. Ogren is always having a good time, and something about that just really speaks to me. There are many other additional companions too, including a dog to fight by your side, and even a former enemy turned good if you pick the right path. Choice is key in this game, and it really shows how awesome BioWare's writers are to incorporate so many different possibilities and paths to go. All the characters from Duncan the Grey Warden that recruited you, to Arl Eamon the uncle to the late King of Ferelden. All these characters go through tremendous development and grow with you as you journey through Ferelden, gathering allies and building an army to prevent the apocalypse. Dragon Age can easily be recognized by its art style. The style, while simple, does carry a great deal of emotion even for a game as aged as Origins. Everyone knows what a Darkspawn, Grey Warden insignia, and Dwarven gang tattoo look like. The unique way of approaching an overly saturated game style of high fantasy is a breath of fresh air for fans of the genre. It's something that stays with you, and you recall fondly whether you see those symbols and maps and even the old character designs. Unfortunately, this is something Dragon Age has been suffering with the last few years, as Inquisition revamped the art style to where it feels foreign to many Origins players. I know when I say it feels foreign, I mean like foreign. That means the menus, the maps, the enemies, the character models, the terrain, the combat, the biggest sin of all, the UI. This UI looks almost nothing like the Origins UI, and the fantasy feel for me seems lost in the sci-fi aesthetic. It's one of the few things I dislike about the newer Dragon Age games, as this just doesn't have the same pull as the original did for me. It's not a bad change, but it just feels foreign to me, and it doesn't speak to what Dragon Age was at the time. And now, onto the greatest part of this game for me, the dialogue. The writing in this game feels like a movie at sometimes. The characters feel so real and relatable that you can just get sucked right in as soon as you hear Duncan's silky voice.
At last we come to the joining. The Grey Wardens were founded during the First Blight, when humanity stood on the verge.
It's clear that the voice actors took a lot of time and patience to pour tons of emotion into these characters. Despite the animations being subpar in later years, the real emotion is in the voices. And the voices really sell you on the characters.
Absolutely not! Riordan, this man abandoned our brothers and then blamed us for the deed. He hunted us down like animals.
Your character is silent through most of this, and even though you read the dialogue, there is only sounds for combat or when you make a misclick.
I shall do it. As you say.
The silent character trope doesn't work for many games that require the playable character to show emotion. And that's what's unique about DAO, is that the characters are so well written, it seems like it's yourself saying the lines because of the reactions and the way you connect with each character after your ordeals. The way that you connect also really shows how good the writing and dialogue is. When you quote and imitate each scene countless times, it speaks on how memorable the dialogue is.
He was a traitor to me and a coward to his nation. Trips to Orlais, gifts from old enemies.
The timeless memories Dragon Age Origins creates is a testimony to how superb the dialogue is. So what makes Dragon Age Origins story so compelling, I may hear you ask? Well, that's because of the choice. There are many ways to shape the game the way you like it, and it impacts the ending as well. From recruiting potential companions to alternating the fate of a whole race of people, there are many choices that impact the game world. For example, depending on what choices you make in each storyline, you'll have access to different units in the final mission. While most areas remain the same as you play through the game, the dynamic of each location does change. After you complete the trouble in said location, you may see some new NPCs, or a cleanup or scenery change from when you were there last. The way you can shape the world and how your choices not only impact you and your companions, but also the world are big in Dragon Age Origins. It's this aspect that lead to so much replayability. And finally we come to music. What can one say about Dragon Age's music except it's butter? It's godlike, it's good. The music in this game slaps so hard, slaps harder than Will Smith at the Oscars. It's one of those soundtracks that you will never forget, and has a serene and somber moments like when you're in the camp. Epic and hardcore moments when you're taking down baddies. And when the game combines these with breathtaking cutscenes, they're so awesome.
For Ferelden!
It just feels epic, and that's the best way to explain it. There's literally no other thing I could say about it other than I wish there were more tracks. It's one of those soundtracks that stands the test of time and continues to bring people back into the game time and time again. Now, having grown up with this game, it does hold a special place in my heart, so it would be easy for some of you to say, well, Colonel, maybe you have a little biased, maybe you're a little biased in this review. And to those people I say, well, duh, a lot of people I know played this game and many enjoyed it. I didn't pick on much with this title because truly I saw a little wrong with it that was a major concern. Yes, the graphics aren't the best, but what can you expect from a 2009 game? Graphics don't define Dragon Age, and it's the characters in the story that reels you in. In this, I don't see a big issue. You see, I'm from the opinion that if a game has a great story and dialogue, I can excuse the subpar graphics. To be honest, Dragon Age's graphics are still good for the time. So finally we arrived to my final review, and because of the good aspects about this game, how well the characters are written, how the story takes advantage of fantasy tropes and weaves an engaging take on them, how the customization through the Origins system changes your experience and how the world evolves with you, I have to say the score is going to be high. So my final rating will be, drum roll please, 10 command posts out of 10, making it a masterpiece. So thank you, Strat fans, for sticking with me through my first game review. More like these will come, and let me know what game you think you would like me to review. Keep it strategic, Strat fans. Colonel out.